Alright, so today's video is going to be really exciting because we have the ASUS ROG STRIX RTX 3050 in the house. We'll be building this PC right here and I'll take you guys over all the parts I've used. And this video is also going to be a review of the ROG STRIX RTX 3050. So we'll be playing some of the latest AAA titles out there and I'll give you guys the performance benchmarks, the temperatures, the power consumption and noise levels. So basically everything you need to know about the ROG STRIX RTX 3050 with a PC build. With that being said, let's get started. So I hope you guys enjoyed that intro, but before I talk about the build or the parts I've used, let's talk about the ROG STRIX RTX 3050 itself. And if you've followed the PC hardware community for any amount of time, you know that the ROG STRIX line of components are considered to be the best in their class because of their performance, durability, and that signature ROG design aesthetic. And this RTX 3050 STRIX card carries all of that in it, and it has that iconic design which has been improved now. So this is a new updated STRIX design. They've added a lot more color, a lot more flare, and also 20 extra FPS because this has RGB as well. And it's not just looks and RGB that you're paying for. On the inside as well, it's using really premium materials. Things like the capacitors, chokes, and MOSFETs, and the PCB itself comes from really high quality vendors. And this is going to be dealing with a lot of power and a lot of heat. So the durability of the card does matter a lot. And these cards are really long lasting. I've been using my card for almost 3 years now and had no issues with it. And I really do trust the brand, for their quality. And talking about the specs, this is still a RTX 3050. So again, 8 GB of GDDR6 memory, 2560 CUDA cores. This is also PCI Gen 4 ready, 128-bit memory bus, and also this is based on the NVIDIA Ampere architecture. So you will be getting things like ray tracing, DLSS, and all the benefits that you expect from a RTX 3050. The main change here is going to be on the clock speeds. This is an overclocked card from the factory. So the OC mode will get you 1807 megahertz and the gaming mode will get you 1777 megahertz. So spec wise, this does come with the slightly higher clock speed, which means you will get extra performance. And that is true. This card does get extra performance compared to the other 3050s on the market. But that's not it. You can push this card a lot more than the 1807 megahertz that it comes from. The factory clock speed is a safe clock speed. You can overclock this card to a lot more because the ROG STRIX graphics cards are usually considered to be the best cards for overclocking. They are used by enthusiasts in competitions and stuff like that, and this card can handle a lot more than just 1807 megahertz. The cooling inside is sufficient and the temperatures are a proof of that. And talking about cooling, the heatsink on this card is really chunky, it's beefy, and has really good contact with the GPU chip itself. So the temperatures are good, and also they have their 3-fan design here, wherein the side fans spin anti-clockwise, and also the fans will stop spinning if the GPU is under 42 degrees Celsius, which is most of the time. Most of the times the fans aren't even spinning on this one, so that's good. And their fan itself is kind of unique. The hub in the middle is really small, the blade is big, and also there's this ring around the fan, which increases the downward air pressure. All in all, if you don't want to understand all the technical jargon, this has really good cooling performance. And talking about just overall design and build quality, card feels premium, the metal backplate is good, and has a lot of ROG branding all over the place. And the RGB lighting that I talked about in the start can be customized. So there is a ROG logo that glows up on the back, and also this glossy strip towards the front has the ROG logo as well. You can use ASUS's AuraSync software and change the color as well as the effect on those lights. And you can also download their GPU Tweak 2 software if you want to do any sort of monitoring or customization to this card. Enough about the card. Now let's talk about the build and the parts I used to test the ROG STRIX 3050. So starting off with the CPU, we've got the AMD Ryzen 5 3600. Now I know this is a 3000 series CPU. You could use a 5000 series or a 12th gen Intel CPU. That's totally up to you. But in this Ryzen 5 3600, we have got 6 core, 12 threads, and a 3.6 GHz base and a 4.2 max. And also, this is enough for RTX 3050. There's going to be no bottlenecking of any sort. 6 cores and 12 threads should be enough for all sorts of applications. And I think this is a good CPU even in 2022 if you can find it at the right price. And to house that Ryzen 5 3600, for the motherboard, we have the ASRock B450M Steel Legend. I'm a huge fan of the Steel Legend series from ASRock. These usually are really value for money boards with all the essential features like RGB, 4 RAM slots, M.2. The build quality on these motherboards is good. They have a really nice aesthetic, you know, that military camo finish. And they also have RGB, a bunch of USB ports on the back. Overall, a really good deal in my opinion, and you can also overclock on this one. So just, you know, a really nice motherboard. And the Ryzen 5 3600 in this build likes to heat up a lot. So for that, we've got the NZXT Kraken Z63 RGB in white. This cooler has great cooling performance. It's built really well, all premium materials, and has the best LCD display implementation in my opinion. And coupled with NZXT Cam, you know, for software monitoring and customization, it is a really good cooler in my opinion. Performance, aesthetics, all sorted with the Z63 RGB in white. Now for memory and storage in this build, a huge thanks to PNY for providing their PNY Accelerate Epic X RGB RAM. This is 16 gigabytes. Again, 8 gigabytes, 2 sticks, 3200 MHz speed, and this does have RGB. And also their PNY CS3040 NVMe 500 gigabyte M.2 PCI Gen 4 SSD. This will have our Windows and games and stuff like that, and this will handle the memory in the build. So huge shout out to PNY for providing these products. To power this whole build up, we've got the NZXT C850 power supply. Now 850 watts is totally overkill for this build. ASUS recommends 550 watts for this Strix 3050, but I had this in hand and I really like this, you know, power supply. It's 80 plus gold, fully modular, and comes with a 10-year warranty, and also has a 0 RPM mode wherein when you press a button on the back and the fans will stop spinning, so it reduces noise. Overall, a really high quality power supply and really reliable, you know, in the long run. And for the graphics card, as mentioned earlier, we've got the ASUS ROG Strix RTX 3050. Now, we've talked a bunch about this card already. Let's get to the gaming benchmarks. Enjoy. Alright, so those are the gaming benchmarks. You guys have seen that, and you can watch my original Zotac RTX 3050 review to compare the numbers for yourself. But I think because the RTX 3050 is such an entry-level card and this is not, being overclocked a lot, you won't see a huge performance difference. But once you start overclocking this card, you should be able to get much more FPS and just performance overall from this card. And performance numbers aside, another big advantage that you get with the ROG Strix 3050 is in terms of cooling. And when I tested the Zotac 3050 initially, in terms of temperatures, the minimum temperature on that card was about 37 degrees Celsius, and the maximum, under gaming loads was about 65 degrees Celsius. And the GPU hotspot temperature was about 75. This ROG Strix 3050 has a minimum temperature of 29 degrees Celsius. So you're already reducing almost 10 degrees there. And in terms of the max temperature, this goes up to 58 degrees Celsius. So again, a difference of about 6 to 8 degrees. And that headroom will allow you to overclock and push this card a lot more. And the GPU hotspot temperature was about 70 degrees Celsius. So 5 degrees better. That means that heatsink is making really good contact with the GPU chip inside and keeping it really cool. And of course, the 3-fan design is also helping with the temperatures. In terms of power consumption, the minimum was about 9 to 10 watts. The maximum is about 130 watts. And in terms of gaming loads, this card does take up 100 watts or so in terms of average power consumption. So temperatures and power consumption aside, acoustically, this card is also really good. Most of the time, the fans aren't even spinning, but when they aren't really spinning at 100% RPM. And because they're spinning anti-clockwise, the noise does reduce significantly. So in terms of acoustic performance, this card is again really good and stays silent most of the time, so you'll barely be able to hear it once the tempered glass side panel is on. But with that being said, that's the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found this video helpful. It took a lot of effort to make the build, the review, and the testing of the ROG STRIX 3050. I hope you found this video, entertaining. If you did, go ahead and smash the like button, as well as subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads. And let me know in the comments down below what do you think about the video, the build, and the ROG STRIX 3050 itself. I'll be there replying to you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. My name has been Yusuf. You guys have been awesome. Stay awesome, keep smiling, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.